The drama surrounding the boxing world right now doesn't come from a press conference, a weigh-in face-off, or even a fight night explosion under the bright lights. It comes from whispers, from grainy footage, from voices arguing over what they think they saw and what they believe it means. In a sport built on myth-making and perception, nothing rattles the foundation quite like leaked sparring, especially when it involves a fighter whose reputation has been carefully crafted around control, composure, and invincibility. Shakur Stevenson has long been marketed as untouchable, a defensive savant who dictates every second inside the ring. So when rumors began circulating that he had been dropped by Keyshawn Davis in a closed-door gym session, the boxing world didn't just react. It stopped, stared, and demanded answers. The reaction was immediate and chaotic. Fans argued online, commentators talked over one another, and the same question echoed across every platform. What exactly are we watching? Because, without context, without understanding, leaked sparring clips become a Rorschach test for boxing fans. Some see vulnerability. Others see nothing more than a moment taken wildly out of proportion. And that confusion is exactly what fuels the fire. The average fan at home doesn't have access to the knowledge fighters and trainers take for granted. They don't see the purpose of sparring, the intentional risks taken, the rounds spent experimenting instead of surviving. They just see a flash, a stumble, maybe a knockdown, and suddenly a narrative is born. That's why the voices closest to the sport keep repeating the same message. Do your homework. Because, at the elite level, nothing comes easy, not even in sparring. Every offensive move, every clean punch, every moment of success has to be earned or carefully set up. This isn't backyard brawling. This is high-level chess, played at full speed, with gloves on. And when you're talking about fighters like Shakur Stevenson, Teofimo Lopez, or Keyshawn Davis, you're talking about men whose intelligence is just as sharp as their physical tools. Shakur Stevenson has built his entire professional identity around one unbreakable rule: defense first. It's not flashy, it's not reckless, and it doesn't always make casual fans happy, but it wins fights. His style is rooted in denial. You don't get what you want. You don't get comfortable. You don't get momentum. He takes what he needs when he decides to take it, and until then, you're left swinging at shadows in air. That approach has carried him to an undefeated record: 24 wins, 11 knockouts, and world titles across multiple divisions. Since turning professional in 2017, Shakur has steadily refined that identity, becoming one of the most technically sound fighters of his generation. That's why the idea of him being dropped, even in sparring, feels so jarring to people. It challenges the image. It forces fans to confront the uncomfortable truth that even the most disciplined fighters are human, and even the best defense can crack under the right circumstances. But context matters. Sparring is not a fight, it's a laboratory. Fighters try things they would never risk under bright lights. They push limits, test reactions, and sometimes intentionally walk into danger to sharpen instincts. A knockdown in that environment doesn't automatically translate to vulnerability on fight night. But in the age of social media, nuance rarely survives. What makes this situation even more intriguing is how it collides with the broader conversation around elite matchups, particularly the looming possibility of Shakur Stevenson facing Teofimo Lopez. On paper, it's the kind of fight purists dream about and casual fans fear, not because it lacks action, but because it demands patience and understanding. This wouldn't be a reckless war, it would be a technical battle, layered with adjustments, feints, traps, and psychological warfare. Teofimo Lopez is explosive, powerful, and far smarter than some give him credit for. He's already proven his ability to rise to the occasion when the challenge demands it. Long before Devin Haney claimed his place atop the lightweight division, Teofimo did something few believed possible. He beat Vasily Lomachenko, not outworked him, not survived him. He beat him, becoming the first man to hand Lomachenko a clear defeat in the professional ranks. That win alone cemented Teofimo's ceiling as something special, even if his career since then has been inconsistent. And that inconsistency is what fuels debate. We've seen Teofimo lose. We've seen him struggle. We've seen nights where he looked brilliant and others where he looked uncomfortable. Some call that a ceiling. Others see it as something far more complex. Because Teofimo's best performances tend to emerge when he's challenged by elite opposition. His ceiling isn't fixed. It changes depending on who's standing across from him. Against fighters who push him mentally and technically, Teofimo often becomes a sharper, more dangerous version of himself. That's why a matchup with Shakur Stevenson feels so risky for both men. For Teofimo, it's a test of discipline and patience. He wouldn't be able to rely solely on explosion or power. Every offensive sequence would have to be earned, disguised, and timed perfectly. Shakur doesn't give away openings. He forces you to create them. For Shakur, the risk lies in Teofimo's unpredictability. His ability to generate sudden offense, to change rhythm, to turn a quiet round into a dangerous one in a split second. When people talk about this potential fight being boring, they misunderstand what they're watching. This isn't about constant exchanges or highlight reel knockouts. It's about control. It's about who can impose their will without overextending. It's about inches, angles, and timing. For those who appreciate the craft, it would be one hell of a fight. And yet, the leaked sparring narrative threatens to distort all of that. Instead of focusing on what makes Shakur great, or why Teofimo needs a challenge like him to unlock his best form, the conversation drifts toward doubt. That's the danger of fragments without context. A moment taken from a gym can overshadow years of discipline. Excellence if people aren't careful. Shakur Stevenson is 28 years old, the same age as Teofimo Lopez. Both men are in their athletic primes, seasoned enough to understand the game, but young enough to continue evolving. Shakur stands around 5'8" on paper, though those numbers rarely tell the full story. In the ring, height matters less than distance control, and that's where Shakur excels. He knows exactly where he wants to be, and more importantly, where he doesn't want his opponent to be. Keyshawn Davis, the name attached to the leaked sparring, isn't some unknown prospect either. He's an elite talent in his own right, a fighter with speed, skill, and confidence. Sparring between fighters of that caliber isn't about domination, it's about sharpening weapons. Sometimes one man gets the better of an exchange. Sometimes a punch lands clean. Sometimes someone goes down. None of it exists in isolation. But once it leaks, it takes on a life of its own. That's why voices within the sport keep emphasizing education over reaction. Fans deserve context. They deserve understanding. Because without it, the narrative becomes noise. The reality is that Shakur Stevenson hasn't lost a professional fight. He hasn't been exposed under the lights. He hasn't failed when it mattered most. Until that happens, his resume speaks louder than any leaked clip ever could. At the same time, moments like this remind us why boxing remains endlessly fascinating. Even the most controlled careers are fragile. Even the best plans can be disrupted. And even fighters who seem untouchable are constantly walking a tightrope between confidence and vulnerability. That tension is what keeps fans watching. It's what turns rumors into debates, and debates into anticipation. As the dust settles. The question isn't whether Shakur Stevenson is suddenly flawed or whether Keyshawn Davis has unlocked some secret code. The real question is how these narratives shape perception heading into future fights. Will opponents feel emboldened? Will fans view Shakur differently? Or will this moment fade into obscurity once the next dominant performance reminds everyone why his name carries weight? Boxing has always thrived on moments like this, moments where certainty dissolves and possibility takes its place. Whether this leaked sparring clip becomes a footnote or a turning point remains to be seen. What's undeniable is that it has reignited conversation, intensified scrutiny, and reminded everyone that behind every polished fight night performance is a long, brutal journey filled with risk, experimentation, and imperfection, and that's the story worth telling. Not the clip itself, but what it reveals about how quickly narratives can shift in this sport, and how important it is to separate spectacle from substance. Because when Shakur Stevenson steps back into the ring for real, none of the noise will matter. Only the truth written between the ropes will. Now I want to hear from you. Do leaked sparring clips change how you view elite fighters, or are they being blown completely out of proportion? Does this make a potential Shakur Stevenson versus Teofimo Lopez fight more intriguing, or does it distract from what should be a pure technical showcase? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and if you enjoy deep, story-driven boxing breakdowns like this, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for what comes next.